All right, so we're going to get into the defensive season review. We're going to go through position grades. We're going to go through game balls and jock straps and all that stuff. But first, let's just talk about the defense in general, because I know that this is a unit I think we all came away a little higher on than we did the offense. Like, the offense was a pretty who we said some negative things about the offense last week. None of all of them were deserved. They were all deserved. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have said them, but going into this defensive show, what are your initial thoughts on the defense? Taylor, I'll start with you on this one then.
So last week I had like a bird's eye view of the team year over year. I kind of did something similar for the defense here. And I got to tell you, the bird's eye view with Anthony Weaver's defense is he has the best defense we've had in the last 3 years. And I don't think it's close. And I actually think he's probably had the least to work with compared to his previous two regimes, which was Vic Fangio and Josh Boyer in 2022.
Yeah.
We had the 10th most point. We were ranked 10th in points allowed, 4th in yards allowed, 9th in pass yards allowed, 9th in rush yards allowed. And the big problem, honestly, is takeaways. We're ranked number 27 in the league.
Yeah.
If you can say anything about the Fangio defense, which I think was highly overrated for the Dolphins, for the Eagles, it's working fantastic. They're in the NFC title game. But for his time in Miami, it was pretty lackluster. But 27 takeaways in 2023, which was tied for 8th. So that's something that does have to be improved with Weaver. But other than that, I think this is a very promising group with a very promising coach that I hope doesn't get a head coaching job this year, and he gets to stay with us one more year.
That's a good point, Taylor. He's gotten a lot of interviews, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's gotten some interviews. It's got me a little worried because, don't get me wrong, he's deserving of the head coaching job, but please stick around one more year.
Yeah, we do want him for one more year, I think. Anthony, what are your initial thoughts on this defense?
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that I thought Weaver was for sure just going to be like a Rooney Rule interview for a while, but now that he's getting second and third interviews, it just shows to me that he's a leader of men, and that's kind of what I saw looking back at this season as a whole on defenses. The team played hard for him. They never stopped playing hard for him. He really got the most out of the defense, and all in all, I thought he was really good in terms of personnel decisions too. And I don't know if MMD gives the defensive coordinator that power, but I believe he does because he doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. He can barely handle the offense. This is a defensive show, though. Listen, we saw Weaver quick to make moves outside of benching Jordan Poyer, which we were all hoping for the entire season and never saw, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But they got rid of David Long when he just wasn't cutting it. Got rid of Marcus May. I still don't know what the heck Marcus May did, but clearly something bad. Yeah. And the greatest thing of all, he deserves a shrine just for this. He rarely put Duke Riley in on defense. Atta boy, Weaver. Atta boy. I mean, I was so sick and tired of seeing Duke Riley on defense, so we didn't have to see it this year. And that, to me, is an A+ just for that.
Build the statue.
Yeah. Taylor did mention a lot of things that I thought were, the turnover thing definitely stood out to me as well. Really bad. Very few interceptions. I think I jokingly said one day that we had fewer interceptions than that kid on the Lions. We have one more as a team than he had on the season. We had 10 and he had 9, which is crazy.
Wow.
And I think the other thing I saw is that we kind of, as a team entirely, not just the offense, our defense folded against the tougher competition. We couldn't hold up against the Bills of the league and the who else did we play that was tough? Any other team that we played that was tough? Arizona, Seattle destroyed us 24-3. And then the last week against the Jets, the defense didn't play well. They were put in bad positions early on in the season because of bad quarterback play. I tried to overlook that as much as I could because they were playing their butts off. They were just continuously put in short yardage situations. But I think overall the defense it looks a lot better than it probably was because our offense was so annoying. But I think they were pretty solid under Weaver. Weaver I liked having Weaver, and I hope he stays.
Yeah, I think most Dolphins fans are probably of a similar mindset. We want Weaver to stay. I think Weaver. I think there were times. Now, for me personally, I think there were times where Weaver didn't have a great feel for the game, didn't have a great feel for the room. I feel like there were times where he was aggressive when he should have been more passive, and he was more passive when he should have been more aggressive. And it's in those times where you see turnovers forced. You know, it's during those times where you see, quarterbacks panic, throw a bad ball, or whatever that may be. So I think, again, this is just a young coordinator who's just trying to find his way. I think he'll get better at that as things go along and as the personnel improves, because like you said, Taylor, he didn't have a whole lot to work with. Along the defensive line, we lost Christian Wilkins, replaced him with Calais Campbell, who was great for us this year, but he's not Christian Wilkins, and he's not prime Christian Wilkins, not at 38 years old. Zach Sealer had a great year. I mean, I just think at times this defense was a little bereft of talent, and it showed, manifested itself on the field at times.
Yeah, we didn't have a ton of depth, and we faced some injuries, like every team, but we faced a lot of injuries, and we didn't have anything to fill in for those injuries. I mean,
true.
Like the starters we had were barely good, and then we're trying to slide in these guys behind them. It was rough.